Hi, everyone. Welcome back. This week we have Russel Keller with Credit Law Center with us again, and we're going to be asking him a few more questions about credit and credit repair. So first off, Russell, what are the various dates on a credit report mean?
Well, there are a lot of dates on there. I counted up on TransUnion on one account the other day. It had 5 different dates on it. Which date do we want to pay attention to and why? And really a couple that are really important. The first one that is a misunderstanding for people is the date opened is when the collector got that account. That's not necessarily when somebody went to the doctor, which could be a couple, 3 months before that. If it's transferred to different collectors at different times, it could have been a couple, 3 years before that somebody went to the doctor. But it gives us somewhat of a time frame when they got it. The other date that's really important that a lot of people miss, and that is the date of last activity, because that's what scoring is based on.
Okay.
So you really want to pay attention to that date, and of course, the more recent something is, the more damage it can do to your credit score. So something a collection that's 4 or 5 years old has an effect on your credit score, but a more minor effect, where something that is dated in the last couple months, or really even in the last couple years, has a pretty significant impact negatively on your credit score.
Wow, good to know, good to know. And going along with talking about collections, what can you tell us about if someone says, well, I can just pay that collection account off? How does that affect their score?
Well, that depends a little bit on the date of last activity, actually, because if you just pay an old collection, I guess the way to describe it, though, is it's not the dollar amount of a collection that hurts your credit score. Not really. What it is it is the date of last activity. So again, the older it is, the less of an impact it has on your credit score. So if you have a $100 doctor bill, you didn't get the bill, and we don't pay bills we don't get. If that is on your credit report and it's dated correctly in 2016, that has a minor impact on your credit score. But that same $100 doctor bill dated in 2022 has a major effect on your credit score. So if you pay that old doctor bill, make it $100 to $0, changing the dollar amount doesn't help your credit score, but updating the date of last activity will actually drop your credit score for paying an old bill.
Oh.
The key with all of that with collections, the real question that goes with that is, well, what do I do then? You mean if I pay a bill, I actually hurt myself? Well, if you leave it on your credit report, yes. But if we can get that item deleted from your credit report as if it never existed, then your score will go up. But really, to make your score recover, it has to come off the credit report. You can't just pay it. And the problem is most collectors don't like to delete for payment because the credit bureaus don't like for them to do that, because the credit bureaus think that has a bad effect on the integrity of their data. There's a whole nother debate we could have about that, but
Absolutely.
We'll leave that one alone for today.
Yeah, absolutely. So in that aspect, how long, if somebody never touched their collection on their credit report, never did anything, how long would that stay on their credit report for?
For most things, it's going to come off after 7 years.
Okay.
However, if the collector makes a mistake, which this seems to happen fairly frequently, almost all the time, that they accidentally misdate that old collection from 4 or 5 years ago and date it in the last 2 months, then that keeps it alive.
Gotcha.
And unfortunately, at the same time, that does artificially suppress the credit score. So it makes collections a real important item to come off of your credit report. It's not unusual for me to see, now this is not specific to anyone's case, but it's not unusual for me to see a single collection affect somebody's credit score 50 or 100 points.
Wow.
So a collection can be real damaging to your chances. And you know, I've got a number of examples I could show you where pulling one collection off increases the credit score 80 points, 100 points or more. And I know that when you're going from, you know, maybe a 640 to a 720 credit score, that's a different file for you, isn't it?
Big difference. That would definitely help in your interest rate. And the all over, when we run things through like an automated underwriting system, they'll see, a better credit history, and then also the better credit scores. So that's definitely going to help everything out as far as getting that file through underwriting.
Yeah, it's a different buyer, really.
Yep, absolutely.
I had one not too long ago. The guy had an 820 score, picked up one $86 medical collection, dropped his score to a 680.
Wow.
Now 680 is closable. Mm-hmm. Is that a word?
Yes.
But that an 820 buyer is a different person than a 680.
Yep. And we always do, just before closing, we always have to do a credit soft pull. Or sometimes we may have pulled your credit, 4 months ago, and you've just found a house, and during that time period, your credit report has expired, so we have to pull it again. If somebody had an 820 and then now has dropped to a 680, that's going to definitely, be detrimental to their interest rate. So for sure.
Well, the good news on that file was that collector was on a list, a proprietary list we have of over 100 collectors. We have a standing agreement that they will delete for payment. He did owe the $86. He paid it, came off his report, his score fully recovered, and he got the financing he wanted and deserved.
That's great. That's great. So it's always great to have somebody such as Russell to be able to help out with those things. Thank you for coming on with us again today and talking about all things collections. That is something that is very important to the buying process and things that we're going to see when we pull your credit report when we start with your application. So join us again next week. Russell will be back and we'll talk about a few more things.
Thank you.